These are the 5 reasons why not to start a home service business. So if you missed the first segment is the 5 reasons to start. These are the 5 reasons not to start a home service business. And so we will start with number 1, hours worked. So you might have heard it in the other segment, but if you were expecting 40 hours a week, you're not going to have that. There's no 40 hours a week. There's no 50 hours a week. Running your own business, especially a home service business, is a very time-intensive job. And so I'm working 50 to 60 hours a week regularly, weekends, nights, early mornings. It's whenever I can get it in, I'm working. And that happens across the board. It has to happen because you're wearing so many hats, especially when you start one. You're running everything, so you have to do everything. There's no way around it. And then even John, who's my co-host on Owned and Operated, I spent the week with him. He is working equally as much running a $30 million business. So the first reason not to get into home service business or not to start a home service business is hours worked. The second reason not to get into home service businesses are benefits. If you need benefits, this is not the industry for you. Retirement, healthcare, dental, vision. This is something that, as you're trying to grow in the early stages, is really hard to pull that money aside because all money is going back into growth. And if you want those benefits, it's very difficult because they're costly. They cost multiple thousands of dollars a year, and it's money that you just don't have early on. And so you have to be willing to give up a retirement account. I'm not putting any money in my 401k for 10 years while I'm building this. And same with healthcare, because that ends up being a drag on the business, anything that you pay to yourself. Speaking of money, no days off is number 3. No days off. No off days either. So if you're not working, there's no quitting quietly, which is the new hot phrase. It's a grind, and it's every day a grind. There's no work around it. You are the sole contributor to your income. And the harder you work, the smarter you work, the more income you make, and there's no way around it. That's it. And so it's great if you're doing well and you don't mind that, but it can also be a reason to not start a home service business if you are interested in kind of just hanging out, or every couple days you just don't want to work. It's just not going to work for you. You won't make enough money to be able to sustain yourself or your family. And speaking of sustaining families, number 4 reason to not start a home service business is the stress. So you have stress from the amount of hours worked, not having benefits, not getting days off, no vacations, but you also have the stress of managing people, right? So there's people that will inevitably work for you in one way, shape, or form, and you have an onus to not let them down. You have 10, 12, 15, 20, 80, 100 employees. They all have livelihoods, and you're responsible. Your decisions directly affect their livelihood, whether that's changing pay rates, changing days off, those benefits. Like, they all have wants and needs and lives and families. And at the end of the day, even if it's just one person who works for you, it still is your responsibility to make sure that schedule's full, make sure their pockets are full, and make sure they have food going on their table. End of story. And so that can be a real reason not to start it, because it's a lot. It's very rewarding if it works out, but at the same time, it's a lot. And lastly, not the number 1 reason, but definitely a big reason, is PGs, personal guarantees. So as you start expanding your business, you're getting real estate, even just renting, leasing real estate, you're building accounts, you're picking up credit cards. What you'll run into is the want of these people who are supplying you some sort of credit, which you will need at some point to expand or to, build some leeway in your business. But personal guarantees are what they will require the credit holders. And that's just saying, hey, if the business goes under and your business goes bankrupt and fails, you, Jack, in this case, are responsible for that money. So if your wife or husband has a job, they're going to be paying that back. If you have a house, that house that is your personal property in most states gets put on the line. There's a few states that don't do that, but still, your car, your bank accounts, your stocks, your bonds, whatever you have in investments, that is all guaranteeing that you will pay back the debt that you have on your business. So your personal and your business are no longer separate. They're tied together. And so that's a great reason not to start, is maybe you have a portfolio of rental properties that now people are going to try and require you to guarantee those rental properties. So if your business goes under, you lose those rental properties. And so personal guarantees are something that are definitely, you can avoid them, but it's very difficult to. And it's a reason not to start. If you have a lot of assets, don't start. Don't risk it. Don't risk it for the opportunity to make more money. Just use those assets to make more money in a different way. So the 5 reasons not to start your own home service business are the long hours that are required, the lack of benefits, right? You don't get benefits, you don't get retirement, you don't get healthcare, you don't get vision, dental, especially early on, the stress and the management of people. You are personally responsible for people's livelihoods, their families, and that can be extremely stressful. Not having off days, right? You have to show up every single day. You're sick, too bad. You're puking, show up. And then personal guarantees that you can actually sync your personal finances because of the business you just started. So if you like what you hear, tell us in the comments below if you like the 5 ways to start a home service business versus the 5 reasons not to start a home service business. Follow us on Twitter, the HVAC Jack, the Wilson Companies. Go over to ownedandoperated.com, listen to the podcast, and sign up for the newsletter. John writes some great stuff. All right, guys, thanks for listening.